What's going on, lucky viewers? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Starring your favorite host, Just My Luck. Today, I'm going to give an update on my thoughts and feelings on Deadlock. I made my first YouTube video at, I think it was like 13 hours, and I played for 13 hours, gave my first impressions on the game. I have currently played 38 games out of 50 to unlock ranked, which puts me at like 40 hours now, so I've almost doubled my time. And I just wanted to touch over some of the points that I made in my original YouTube video and kind of give my updated feelings on a couple of those points. So we'll get right into that. So the first point that I made was the characters in the game. I've played a lot of them, and the character that I was leaning towards back then was Mo and Krill. That still holds up to this day at almost 40 hours of me really liking Mo and Krill. Mo and Krill are definitely my most played character. Right behind Mo and Krill is McGinnis. I really like McGinnis too. And they're the two of my most played characters out of everybody. I did say with Mo and Krill they felt underpowered, and they also didn't really feel like they contributed a whole lot to the team. But they did have a lot of CS. And specifically, they're overpowered in the early game, in the lane. I think I have kind of changed on that with my thoughts. I think with Mo and Krill early game, it's really, really easy to smother the enemy team, especially if you pull out your 3, which is your little like dust particles. If you pull that first and then pull your healing, I think it's really, really easy to apply pressure early game, especially in lane, and shut down the enemy laner, because the dust just makes it to where all they can do is pretty much turn and run. And then you have the healing, so in case they do rush you, you can just heal, and especially if there's like minions and stuff around you, you can do that. They have a shotgun, so I feel like Mo and Krill early game aren't overpowered at all. I feel like that's transitioned more to late game, specifically late game, like mid to late game when you're pushing lanes and you're trying to shoot somebody from really, really far away. I think that is where they kind of start to fall off in the terms of damage and utility deportment, because a lot of their abilities are really, really close range. So you have to be able to get on top of people and capitalize on it. That being said, though, I do think that they have a defined role in the game as the CC of the CC of the team. They're really meant to ambush and help other lanes, especially early and mid game. And like I said, they start to fall off towards the late game in terms of like damage output and whatnot, just because of you're having a lot of people stay back a lot more, like the enemies and whatnot, when you're pushing and you're doing really good. I've also seen their ability to survive in the lane really, really well, especially if you build spirit lifesteal on them, if you capitalize on their healing based off of their 1, if you can control the fights really easily, and you know what you're doing in the fight and who to focus and who not to focus. I mean, you can survive for a really long time, especially if you lean into that tankiness, that lifestealing of the game. You can shut down some fights pretty fast. I've been able to, with Mo and Krill, their ultimate is shut down other people's ultimates. So like Hayes doing her like spin attack Reaper thing, you can just stop. No thank you. McGinnis, you can stop. Infernus, I haven't caught Infernus yet. You can stop 7, you can stop Warden, you can stop Viscous. No, you can't stop Viscous. Viscous is old as the cube. Never mind, I lied. You can't stop Dynamo. I think you can stop Bebop. I think I've stopped him before. As long as you can get past the Kamehameha wave getting blasted, just absolutely melting you in the face. That being said, I think Mo and Krill, early to mid game, are really, really good at smothering the opponents and taking the lead early, and being able to capitalize on that pressure. On to my next point. The next point I made was who's damage and who's not damage. I think I still land on this point of me not liking this part of the game is you don't know who's damage and who's not damage. I did have a comment on my YouTube video saying, well, everyone's damaged. That's awesome. I mean, in a sense, every mobile game, everyone's damaged if you build them correctly. You know, everyone's abilities do damage, and if you build them correctly, you can build damage. But you don't need a bunch of chieftains and not enough followers. You know what I mean? You don't need everyone dealing damage. You need tanks, and you need supports, and you need healers, and you need like those dedicated roles. So what I would really like to see out of this game is separating the heroes into those quadrants, just so people like me who like playing tank and support can pick characters like that, or at least give I know League of Legends does this, give every character like 2 roles. So like when you play, like in League of Legends, when you pick Darius, you know, they say you can play Darius solo or you can play him jungle. Okay, they don't tell you he's a tank or he's a fighter, you know, but when you pick, when you know what those roles are meant for and what they like, what you know that those roles are meant for. Like solo is meant for being a warrior, meaning you're supposed to deal both damage and be able to tank at least a little bit, like you're the secondary tank. If you're playing jungle, you're supposed to ambush people and have a high damage output and be able to get in and out quickly. And I'm not saying that the game should have jungle and solo, and because the game's not based around that, it's more based around, you know, teamwork and team composition, in the sense of like, oh, well, you have a Mo and Krill, and you have a McGinnis, and you have a Viscus, you know, so that you can, so people can communicate on what they're going to build, or at least their character has some basis of what they should be doing. I feel like they really need to separate the characters into those categories. I don't know if they're gonna. I would really like to see that with the game. And I think for people to figure out who does what, you really just have to play the characters, which sucks. To jump back to that comment that was on my YouTube video, you know, everyone's damage is great. Well, I mean, like I said, yeah, everyone does damage, you know, but you shouldn't be playing Infernus tank, you know. But with that being said, you don't know that you should be playing Infernus tank. You shouldn't be playing Bebop tank. But how are you supposed to know that until after you play it, you know? So I feel like newcomers coming into the game don't know who to play for what. Let's say I'm a newcomer. I'm a person who's never played this game before, and especially when this game full releases, you know, and they just allow people to come in without invites and whatnot. I'm a new person, and I'm like, oh, well, I want to play healer. And you look and you're like, okay, who's the healer? And you're met with this screen. Okay, well, I'm going to go through 20, 30 hours thinking, you know, Abrams is a really good healer, you know, or fucking Mo and Krill is a really good healer, or Kelvin is a really good healer. You know, I'm gonna go put all those hours, but really I should be playing someone like Viscus, who has an ability that literally just heals. So I really think that's where the game needs to be separated and should have those differences, so new players know who they should be playing and at what. Like, just so, because I feel like there's enough MMO games out there that everyone knows what role they want to be playing, and so new players coming in should be able to distinguish what role everyone should be doing, at least on a basis level. Going on to my next point. The next point is that I made in my previous video is the game doesn't know what it is. I'm kind of 50-50 on this, in the sense of it is an MMO, especially after I put a little bit more hours into it, it feels a lot more like an MMO, but at the same time, it's so much different than other MMOs that them having so much differences kind of bites people in the ass when it comes to the learning curve of the game, because the game is this is an MMO that plays completely different than any other MMO, which is a double-edged sword. It means it's fresh, which is a good thing. It feels good, because it feels like a fresher breath of air. It doesn't feel like, oh, well, here's another MOBA. Well, what does it play like? League of Legends, or does it play like Smite? I feel like with Deadlock, you can be like, oh no, this is Deadlock. Like this is completely different than the other ones. So I feel like that's a good step towards a good step towards a good space, like a good step forward. That's the word I'm trying to use. I feel like it's a good step forward. At the same time, it comes with, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It comes with people coming in and being like me, who have played MOBAs in the past, like League of Legends and Smite, who have played those and put a couple hundred hours in those games, and then they come out with this one and they don't know what the fuck's going on. Usually, because when I played League of Legends, I played it for almost 2 years, and then I swapped over to Smite, and I was like, oh, okay, well, this goes here, you know, this is here, oh, I know what this is, you know, oh, this reminds me of something from League of Legends, oh, this reminds me of something from League of Legends, but Smite had its own, like, twist on it, kind of. With this game, I came in, and I was like, what? Huh? Where? What is this? There's zip lines. What the hell? You push the zip lines? Okay. I guess. Cool. There's a mid boss. Okay. There's a mid boss. When you kill him, you don't get the buff right away. You have to punch the crystal that falls down. What? Like, why? Okay. Well, are there any other buffs? No, not really. Well, you can pick up the ones on the bridge, but I mean, that's about it. You don't have to fight for them. Okay, so that's completely different. So there was a lot of confusion, especially coming into the game for the first, I would say for the first 20 hours. People who have either one, if you've never played a MOBA, and this is your first MOBA, you probably won't ever play a different MOBA. Only because this MOBA is so much different than other ones in a good way. Pacing of the game is exponential. I still think this is true. Absolutely. I feel like the game still feels really exponential when it comes to transferring from the early game to the mid game to the late game. Early to mid game is about 5 to 10 minutes, and then mid game is 10 to about 20 minutes, and late game's 25 up. And there's like these small transition periods from early game to mid game to late game, but if you don't have communication with your lanes, or you don't know, like, you're not paying attention to what's happening on the minimap, getting caught off guard is really, really easy. So you'll be fighting, you'll be trading, you're winning your lane, but the lane to your right lost their lane, okay? Out of nowhere, the enemy lane is coming towards you, and they just gank you, and then it's a 2v1. And then you just lose your lane. Like, you're winning your lane, and then as soon as someone comes and ganks you, you're lost your lane. And it can flip on a dime like that, back and forth, pretty easily. So it's very, very important that you win your lane early, so that you can keep applying that pressure. Now, that again, that goes for other MOBAs, you know, that's the MOBA aspect of it. But in this game, it feels like it's a lot more rewarding when you do that. With a lot of with other MOBA games, when you win your lane and you go and help another lane, you know, it's like, okay, well, you know, we're gonna push some more, and you know, they're gonna hide under tower and whatnot, and it's not gonna feel like much. Well, at least the first time I come over there, you know, I'll come over there, we might get a kill, we'll push, we'll get some good damage, but then he comes back. For some reason with this game, when you go to another lane and you help your teammate kill the enemy, and then it just feels like that whole lane is just, like, it's just done. Like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's much more of a feeling than it is an explanation of, like, the game just feels more rewarding when it comes to killing people, when it comes to helping your fellow teammates out, when it comes to winning your lane. I don't know what the devs did. I don't know how to put it in words. Like, it's just a feeling that good plays feel like they get rewarded more, rather than good players or good characters, not even good players. Like good players get rewarded more than just good characters. Another point that I made was, there's no set lanes. With the no set lanes, I personally don't like that. And the point I made in my old video was like yellow lane would sometimes have 2 people, yellow lane would sometimes be a one-on-one. I still don't like that. Then again, there is an output that I've been seeing more of, that I have been leaning towards, that I like more, which is the 2 middle lanes, whatever color they are. The 2 middle lanes that are right next to Middle Guardian or Rejuvenator have 2 people, and the people on the outside are one person apiece. For some reason, that feels like the best balance when it comes to map layouts, rather than having 2 people on the outside and 1 person on the inside. I really like the 4 people in the middle and the 2 people on the outside. I think the reason that I like it the most is because when you're in the middle and you have 2 people, it's a lot, when you have 4 people in the middle, 2 on each lane, in the middle lanes, it's a lot easier to go and help your other lane in your 2v2 and make it a 3v2 and kind of help them push more. Rather than having the 2 people on the outside and the people on one side trying to go all the way over to the other side to help, or go over and help the 1v1. I feel like having the 4 people in the middle, it's a lot easier to help each other's lanes, or collapse on another lane to help that domino effect start going, so you can start snowballing. I feel like there needs to be set lanes. I feel like they need to stick with the 2 and 2, and then the 1 on each side. I wish I could, like, I don't know, the game feels so good. Like, this isn't me. I just wish I had better words. I wish I had, and I'm still trying to get used to talking to the camera about my feelings and thoughts and shit, especially on the fly, because I don't like using scripts. Over here, I have points of just, like, to keep me on track about what I want to talk about, but it's not a script. So I really just talk off the top of my head, and every time I talk about this game, it boils down to just the feeling. It just feels good. And I don't know if that's because it stands out from other MOBA games. It's so different from other MOBA games that it feels good. But at the same time, like, the character designs are awesome. The abilities feel amazing and dynamic. The gameplay feels so smooth and transitions so well from combat to laning to combat to laning. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm bored of the other MMO games, but, like, I don't know. This MMO game is different, and it just hits. I don't know. It feels better. It feels better, man. And that's what comes down to most of my explanation after playing for another, like, 15 to 20 hours, is the game feels good. And I said this in my last video, like, the game feels good. It just does. And I feel like that contributes a lot to me liking the game. Me liking the game a lot more, especially a MOBA, because in my last video I said I really like MOBAs, and that's still true. I really don't. I don't seek out playing MOBAs, but for some reason I keep wanting to play this game, and I don't know why. Like, genuinely, I don't know why. The game is amazing. The game is awesome to play. It feels so good to play. I love playing the characters. I don't know. I love this game. I love this game. I really do. That being said, there are still some points that I don't like. My biggest concern with the game is the punching mechanic in this game. What the hell? Why is it someone can punch me for almost a quarter of my health, and they can just repeatedly do it? And a lot of people are like, oh, well, you could just parry it, you know? Okay, listen to this shit. Why can they repeatedly punch me for a quarter of my health? I can parry it once, which stuns them for like 2 seconds. It stuns them for like 2 seconds once you parry. But my parry goes on cooldown. So let's say, for instance, I'm in your lane and I'm punching you. Punch, punch, punch. And you parry one of mine. And I'm just like, oh, I'm stunned, you know? I'll sit there for a sec, and then I get up and punch, punch, punch. You can't parry me again. And I feel like having the parry on cooldown is a good balancing thing, but I feel like the punching needs to be slower. I feel like when you get parried, you should be punished more. I feel like the parry is there just to be there, just to say that, just to be like, oh, well, you can just parry, you know? Why don't you just parry? Why don't you just parry? Well, even if I parry, you're just gonna get back up and start punching me again in the face. Like, that's my biggest thing that I hate in this game, is that people can repeatedly punch somebody in the face. You can only parry once, and in those 2 seconds, a lot of people are like, oh, you can get away. Okay, try walking up to try having a bebop punch you in the face a bunch of times. You parry him, stun him, start running away. Guess what? He's got a grappling hook. And he comes right back up. He just pulls you right back in. Punch, and your parry's on fucking cooldown. A lot of characters have ways to catch up to you, slow you down, stop you from moving. Another good example is Warden. He can handcuff you, just stop you from going. Pocket can teleport. Haze can go invisible, kind of, and teleport. Wraith can teleport. Kelvin can just slow you down. So, I don't know. Parrying just doesn't feel like anything. It's just like, oh, well, I parried. You know, let me run away. Or, I don't know. I feel like they need to fix the melee in this game. They need to fix it. They need to balance it. Put a cooldown on the punching, or take off the cooldown from parries. Allow me to parry consistently. Allow me to just go bloop, oh, bloop, oh, bloop, oh, bloop, and just stop people. That'll stop people from punching, because punching is so huge in this game right now. It's so huge. Another thing, which is one of my points that I pointed out in my last YouTube video. Another thing that I don't like, that I've kind of gotten over. I found my own way through it, but this is mostly for new people coming into the game. Building a character is so hard. I feel like this is still so true. I feel like building a character is really hard, but after you play the character for a while, you kind of know what you should be building on them, and that links back into my first point of, like, you don't know the roles, you know, of the characters. The characters don't have set roles. Once you figure out what your character's good at, then you know what to build. I keep using Mo and Krill as an example, just because that's the character I have most of my experience with, is Mo and Krill. So when building a character with Mo and Krill, after you've played Mo and Krill or Grey Talon or Haze or whatever the fuck, after you play them for a while, you know what they should be doing, you know what you should be building on them. With Mo and Krill, after playing them for a while, I know that they are close up, good at ambushing, and rely heavily on their abilities and burst damage. So I've made a build that revolves around that. I've also made a build that gives me a lot of survivability rather than damage output. There's damage output in there just so that I can keep up with other people in damage, but most of it is survivability and making my abilities hit harder, because that's mostly what my character is used for anyways, is his abilities. So I feel like everyone has to find a character that they like, play that character religiously, like play that character, pick it back up just in case someone picks it. You want to have at least 2 characters that you are really, really good with and know for sure. My 2 characters are Mo and Krill and McGinnis. Find 2 characters that you're really good with, really like their playstyle, and what I did was I looked at the public build. Okay, and I used the public build for a while, figured out what items I liked. Then I went to Sandbox, played around with a couple items, and I made my own build. And I took the convoluted mess that is the public build, and I've narrowed it down that makes sense to me. I will show you. So these are the public builds. Apparently this is the most used one. This one's trending. Okay. This is a lot more simple than the last time I pulled up a public build. Look, this looks like mine. This is really, really simple. It's not that hard to understand, but unless you can read Korean, you know. what the hell? I can't read Korean, so I don't know what the hell's going on here, but I do know that it's 500, 1250, 3000, 6200, and then whatever the hell this is. I'm guessing this is in-game. So take a public build, use some of these, read over some of the stuff, see what you like, and then make your own. This is mine. So I have early game here, and I have them in order, so this is all 500. I usually get melee first, and then maybe close quarters. I get Enduring Spirit if I'm like struggling a little bit in lane. Not really. I need to change this out because this no longer feeds into Headhunter. So while I'm here, I'm going to do that. Figure out what stuff you like what items you like. Build a build that makes sense to you and go for it. That being said, the game feels a lot better than it did at 15 hours. I really do enjoy this game. I see myself playing it a lot. So that's my updates on the game, updated feelings on the game, how the game is going for me, not how my feelings are going for the game. But same thing. Yeah, I hope this was useful. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, you already know what to do. Smash that follow button to miss out any of our future content. Like, subscribe, comment, share it, tell your friends, tell your brother, tell the people you hate, tell the people you love, tell a homeless guy, tell your pet pig, tell literally everybody, tell the guy down the street that you don't even know. Tell, hey neighbor, look at me, look what I got. Ooh, and show my video. That being said, have a good rest of the day. Hope you guys have an amazing day. Stay safe out there. And like I always say, stay lucky, friends. Peace. I'm out of here.